Hello, hello. Oh my goodness. We have to try this again. Let me just double check and make sure I can hear myself for just 1 second because I just had a little faux pas, obviously. And yes, okay. Okay, I can hear myself now. So, whew, I didn't want to talk another 15 minutes without having any noise or any tone. That would have been devastating. I don't know what I did, but lucky I caught it. Actually, my good friend Andrani caught it and let me know about it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, let's do this thing again. The fear of being seen, okay, when we are afraid to show up on social, that is something that many network marketers, online entrepreneurs are struggling with, right? We are putting on the fear, the perfection shield, we are putting on the time management excuse, we are putting all these things in front of it other than showing up, posting, being live, being vulnerable, doing all the things. Why? Because the fear of being seen really comes from childhood conditioning. Okay, childhood conditioning is something that that can be tricky, right? Because when I talk about it, sometimes we want to feel protective of our parents, and we want to say, oh, I don't have trauma, I'm not doing bad, I'm doing great, I'm having, this is all to protect the image that you have in your identity about your family. And what's really important is to understand, first and foremost, while I'm diving into this, it's no one is blaming your family. You are probably having a very loving family, and I'm going to explain this to you. This is something that parents don't necessarily recognize that they're even doing for their children or with their children. That is also still having a big, huge impact. So this was just a little bit disclaimer. So lower your guard, listen to what I have to say, because it will really help you. Okay. So the fear of being seen comes from childhood conditioning. For example, when you be told, or when you don't want to draw attention to yourself because attention was maybe not a good thing for you and your family. Maybe you've been told, just be a good girl, be a good girl for daddy, be a good girl for mommy, do this, X, Y, and Z for mommy. Maybe you're told, don't make any uncomfortable noise, don't make anyone uncomfortable. Psst, be quiet, okay? Be quiet, tone it down. Don't be too loud. Don't be too extra. Don't be extra um whatever, demanding, or leave grandma and grandpa alone, they're tired. Like, whatever it is, it can be super, super simple and innocent, these sentences. I've done this, for example. I've done this to my children, right? My oldest is she has a very powerful, loud voice. And when the littles were sleeping and taking a nap, I really was exhausted. I needed them to take a nap. So I would always tell her, shh, tone it down, be quiet. Like, you're always so loud. Like, I would do that to her. And then I recognized that she was starting to feel bad, right? And because I'm an empath, I could see that. I can see that somebody's feeling bad. I can feel that from them. And so immediately I started becoming curious, and lucky I had the experience as a coach and dealing with shame and dealing with all these side things to recognize that emotion shame was happening. So here's what I want to tell you. When you feel shame, this is like the worst, I feel like the worst emotion ever, right? Feeling shame in general is the worst emotion ever. And part of that is literally, like in this case, I told her, tone it down, be quiet. She made it believe something about her. She is not good enough. When I was talking about this situation, this is where you can get in trouble when your parents wanted to adjust your behavior, just like I wanted to adjust my daughter's behavior, but they maybe not have rectified the situation with you, and you then came to the belief you are not good enough. Something you did was bad. And you didn't think that the situation was bad. The conclusion you came to as a child when you feel shame is you were bad. Okay? You are too loud, meaning you are too bad. This is where shame comes in. Guilt, on the one hand, is when you feel guilty about something you did, about the thing you did, right? That's guilt. Shame is when you as a person feel bad. I am bad. Not I did something bad, that would be guilt, but I am bad. Okay. That is the two different things between shame and guilt. And shame is something that we want to hide. We want to hide it because it's so uncomfortable. Because, of course, you can imagine, like when you really think about it, imagine if you are bad as a person, this is an excruciating pain that we all trying to minimize. Okay. The people-pleasing tendencies that I've had growing up came from this fact. See, I was always somebody with a big energy, right? I was loud, I was curious, I was spontaneous. I just always wanted to do something different, and I was creative, and I was always into everything, right? And all that attention was too much, too often for everyone around me. They didn't want it. So they kept saying like, shh, don't be doing this. Don't be like, all this stuff. They hushed me down a lot. So except for when I used that energy that I had to please other people, to do things for other people, to go above and beyond for everybody needed. When I did that with my energy, then I got recognition. That's when everybody was like, you are doing a great job. So really quickly, me as a little girl, I learned very fast where to use my energy and what was good and what was bad, right? Good, bad, good, bad. Now, is bad really bad? Think about it. No, that bad is not bad. I should use all my energy. I should be doing this with everybody because I can help other people a lot through my insights, through my emotional intelligence, all this stuff. I can help people a lot. So hiding myself is a problem, right? So if you don't want to be unsocial, it's you hiding a gift that you should be given away. It's you not dealing with this shame trigger that you may have, is stealing from other people, right? Because you can probably help other people too. It's not just I'm that super special person. You are probably just like that as well. So it's really important to recognize that you just hide because you're feeling shame. Shame is like, I am not good enough. But you are good enough. You are more than good enough. You are amazing the way you made, right? And only because, see, in my circumstances, now that I have become a parent, I can actually see and understand what this is all about. And when I told my daughter to be quiet, it was my intention to not wake up her siblings, okay? But because I'm aware of what shame is and how that develops, I was able to correct her and tell her like, hey, listen, just be a little bit more quiet. I know you have such a powerful voice. I love that powerful voice in you. You're amazing. You can probably become a motivational speaker of some sort, right? You can probably move the world, but just make sure that right now your sisters are sleeping. See, normal parents that don't have coaching background, they are probably not saying these things. They're probably just saying, hey, be quiet. Shh, right? And you then as a child, you've made that assumption about yourself that you were not good enough, when in fact that was never intended from your parents. So it's important to recognize these shame triggers, to recognize these conditioning things, and to recognize that being visible used to be a risk for you, used to be a risk of judgment and criticism and rejection, right? So you came up with this belief, being seen means danger. Being seen means danger. That is what you saw. This is what your thought is in your brain, and this is why you're not showing up. Okay, this is why you're not showing up. It can also be coming from, so one thing is those thoughts. The other thing can be you tried something maybe and somebody laughed at you. Maybe a parent dismissed you. Maybe they were busy working. Maybe a partner made you feel like you're too much, a coworker or a boss, or like, there's people in our society, in our world that may be thinking that you are too much or that you are not good enough the way you are, even though you are, right? But people are subjective. They have different opinions, and these opinions can be made, yeah, public and basically hurt you, right? So from that, you are going to feel shame. From that, you're going to start feeling guilt. Remember, guilt is something you did, shame is something you are. And shame is something we hide a lot because we are just too afraid to be seen as faulty, as wrong, as not good enough. That is so extremely painful that we are all hiding it. Okay, but you can't hide it and then show up as your full authentic self because you cannot cut this piece out. And that piece is probably doesn't need to be cut out because probably the person that made you feel that way didn't even mean it in the first place. This is the thing. Sometimes when I dismiss my kid, when she wants to come tell me something and I'm like in the middle of a live video or I'm in the middle of a phone call with my boss or something, I have to reject her. I have to say not now. But see, because I'm aware, I go back and say, what did you need, honey? But many parents might not because you're not aware of what this can do. Okay, and sometimes I miss it too. So I'm not perfect. Please don't even think that. Definitely not. So these past experiences, right? It's something that made us now say, hey, we need to play it safe. These generational patterns of playing safe can show up as don't speak up. So you don't speak up, you don't set any boundaries, you don't take up any space at all, and you are definitely not choosing to be yourself. That is what happens when you have these generational patterns. And what we need to do is we need to learn how to overcome this fear. We cannot get rid of this fear. This fear is always going to be there, right? But we can retrain our nervous system to feel safe again, right? And how are we going to do this? How are we going to start feeling safe? Number one is bring awareness to the patterns. We need to say it out loud. I learned to hide. I learned to hide. I wasn't born hiding. Awareness brings unconscious programming, right? So when we know I learned to hide, I wasn't born hiding, we can start recognizing the fact that we don't need to hide anymore. We get to have a choice. We can have a choice right now. And when we have a choice, we can disconnect from the danger and we can start recognizing that we have choices. We can choose. Okay, is this fear from my present now or is this from my past? Which one is it? Is this something that I need to worry about right now? Like, is somebody going to push me off the cliff if I'm doing this live video that no one is watching? Or, is this something that I can just try, right? Be curious about, figure it out. I can always delete it if I don't like it, or if I don't like how I sound or see or whatever. I can always delete it, and maybe 5 people or 10 people have seen your video, whatever. They may not know you and they may not even say anything, so you won't even know. So it really doesn't matter, but you can relearn to disconnect from the danger feeling that something bad is going to happen, and you can start recognizing that you are good the way you are. Now, creating small controlled wins is where you're really going to make an impact. This is where you're really going to change, right? So you can have micro experiences that link your visibility with pride, connection, empowerment, and authenticity. Those feelings are the opposite of the fear, right? Feeling proud of what you did. Hey, you know what? I made a post and I feel really darn good about this. Or I went live for just 1 minute and then I deleted it. It's fine, Or I can say, you know what? I connected with one person, right? I connected with one person. You can feel proud of the moment of making a choice. But this is really where it is. You have to become aware of that pattern. Then you have to decide what you want to do from a now adult point of view. See, who is afraid is your little inner child, the person inside of you that got hurt by someone else. That is who is hiding right now. But you are not needing to hide anymore. You're an adult. You get to decide if you want to be on social media. You get to decide if you want to talk to people. You get to decide what your power should be like, what your voice is showing to be like, what your energy is going to be like, what you want to say. All these things you get to decide. Okay? And then when you start small with really small little micro steps, that's when you start realizing that nothing is going to happen. Nothing bad is going to happen. I am not going to die if I make a live video. I am not going to die if I make a post about anything on social media, anything. I'm not going to die if I take a picture of myself and say, hey, hi, it's me. You know, it really doesn't matter. You're not going to die, but you have to prove to yourself. You have to interrupt the pattern that you had learned that let you shrink. You have to interrupt those patterns. And then from there, that's when you start gaining momentum. That's when you start building the identity. That's when you start building your voice. That is where you are like, wait a minute, what is going on? I am not that little girl that's hiding anymore. I am also not that person anymore that is people pleasing everybody for approval, right? So you get to decide who you're going to be. And this is, I tell you one thing, if for nothing, I mean, of course it's going to help you in your business, but if for nothing, you will start feeling so much more freedom for yourself, for your soul, for everything. I tell you, I used to be so afraid of being alone. I used to be so afraid. And I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. I really am not. Like, do I like to be with people? Absolutely. But I like to be with the right kind of people. I am not for no amount of second am I going to chase after people that don't want me in their life. Absolutely not. No, ma'am. No, sir. That is not something I'm going to do. I am loving to be with myself right now. I am definitely saying I don't want to spend any more of my life energy with people that do not like me or do not want to be around me at all, right? That's it. I'm done with that because I've recognized the shame that was like, oh, you're too much, you're too loud, you have too much energy. I remember this, here's the thing. I remember doing birthday parties. I love doing birthday parties. I love doing birthday parties. And I got ridiculed so many times. I got ridiculed so many times by people saying like, oh, she has to go above and beyond again. Oh, for me, I just wanted to make that person feel special, right? I wanted to make that person that had a birthday feel special because I was so happy that they were born, especially my children, right? And it's just when you think about it, it's like, what kind of miserable people need to knock somebody down that is making other people a nice day? Think about it. So you know what? No. When you start taking your power back, when you start recognizing your inside light, when you start recognizing it that you are good the way you are, when you let go of that shame, when you let go of those nasty emotions that made you hide, you're going to start coming out and you're going to get so much stronger. You're going to get so much stronger, right? They're all trying to knock you down or ridicule, make you feel bad for having your little side business or having your online job but you know what? Let them, like Mel Robbins says, let them all make fun of it. It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter because A, they're not paying your bills. B, they are probably not going to be great friends either because great friends are cheering you on. Great friends are going to also tell you when you have a pimple on your forehead or when they say like, listen, I can't hear you. Or when they say like, oh, that really didn't make a lot of sense. So it doesn't have to be a friend that always tells you the truth. It has to be a friend that wants well for you. Okay. That says, hey, I'm in this with you. That is who I want in my life. That is who I want to show up for. And that's the only thing that matters. And if I am the only one that does it for myself, guys, listen, stop wanting to have 55,000 people doing this with you. You might not even be ready to have so many people. You might have to learn how to give it to yourself first. Okay, you might have to learn how to re-love yourself first, how to set boundaries that do well for you, how to be your own best friend, right? We are out there, we are like, oh, we feel so lonely, we want this friend, this friend, this friend, this friend, right? And then, but in the end, you're just hiding from your shame. You're just hiding from the feelings of not feeling sufficient enough, but you got to learn how to be okay with yourself and be happy with what you're doing and finding your voice. See, and when you find your authentic voice, that's when you start attracting people that are wanting to be in your corner. Okay, I hope that made sense. So this was take 2. The first one was obviously a lot better, I feel like. But this is what you get, okay? This is what you get after 40 an hour of talk. So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.